I should tell because I felt like she would go away. I also didn't know if I should tell because she was a female, and my mother continued to tell me, don't ever let another man or a boy touch you. So when it was a woman, I didn't know what to do. So I didn't say that to say when you're talking to your children, make sure that you tell them whether it's a male, female, older, teenager, doesn't matter who it is. Their body is important to them, and that no one should violate their body. As time went on, I tried to tell people for years. I remember trying to tell someone at the school. I remember telling, my childhood best friends. That's another thing that when I do the workshops with kids, I tell them, if you're going to tell somebody, keep telling them, but tell somebody that might actually be able to help you. Because another 7-year-old child like me couldn't help me, right? But I didn't know any better. I just was trying to tell whoever I could. And at the time, I didn't feel comfortable telling my mother because she was in a domestic violence situation. Because the same woman that was sexually abusing me was physically abusing her. So I felt like if my mother could protect herself, she couldn't protect me. So I didn't really know how to deal with that. So through the mission of Marion's House, it is so important to me that I make sure that every adult knows how to be aware, what to look out for, what are the signs, and really how to protect the child. And then to that child, if the adults don't do their job, then they know also how to get the help they need. On last night, I talked about how to prevent it. I talked about being aware of all the locations. As you put your kids into youth servicing organizations, whether it's a church activity, whether it's a sporting event, summer camps, whatever it is, make sure that those agencies have some form of policy in place. You want to make sure those policies have a set protocol just in case there happens to be a pedophile that wants to be associated with it. As I said last night, the church is a place you can come as you are. But just as you can come as you are and hear the word of God, that doesn't mean you need to be working in the youth ministry. So making sure that though there are boundaries that are set within that church or within whatever organization it is. I'll tell you here at Mount Zion, they've already had to come out and actually do a workshop with the youth ministry, the youth leaders, so they know what to do in this house in order to protect children through my Darkness to Light training sessions. So right now I'm going to give you a little bit of the E and the A. So now I'm moving to the R in given year, and that's the recovery piece. Recovering is hard because there's so many ill effects you may experience. As I mentioned last night, I had a friend that struggled with her child sexual abuse for over 15 years. And this past March, she OD'd on drugs because she couldn't cope anymore. So it is so important that you get the help you need. Drug addiction, depression, alcoholism, suicidal ideations. Sometimes someone that's been sexually abused may become an offender themselves. And then when you look at the prison system, there is over 50% of the women that are in prison were previously survivors of child sexual abuse. And I don't know if we would necessarily say they've survived quite yet. They may be still in the victim stage, and they're doing these other things to figure out how to cope. Another thing I talked about the grooming, and I also mentioned sex trafficking. Majority of the people that are child sex trafficking, those people ran away from home. And a lot of times they're running away from their homes because they're trying to get away from sexual abuse that's going on in the home. 90% of the time, a child is going to be sexually abused by someone that they know and trust. So when you think that you have someone that is close to you, that you think you can trust them and your child can trust them, still always be aware. When I talked about the preventing piece, I said always be aware, meaning wherever they are, it's okay to pop up. If your child is somewhere that you place them, it's okay to pop up. If that event is going on from 4 to 7 and you want to pop up at 4:30 or you want to pop up at 6:30, constantly do that so they know that you are aware and that they're not going to mess with your child because they never know when you're going to show up. I actually had someone to message the Marion's House page on last week, and she said to me, I'm a survivor of child sexual abuse, but I don't want my son to have to go through what I went through, but I also don't want to shelter him because she was afraid that if she shelters him, then he won't be a strong enough man when he's older. And she said, I have him in this program at the school, but I'm so scared to leave him there because I don't know these people. We just moved here, our family's in the military and all these things. And I told her, and I gave her some of the advice I'm giving you all. I said, pop up. It's okay to pop up. It's okay, maybe you become a volunteer if you're not comfortable, but you still want your child to get that experience. Do whatever is going to be comfortable with you, but also allowing that child to experience life. When you get into the recovery piece, I mentioned on last night that right here in the city of Greensboro, I did some research on last week. There were 551 cases of child sexual abuse in 1 year, and this is right here in the city of Greensboro. In the state of North Carolina, there were over 2,700 children where there was investigative reports related to abuse. So that tells you right there, these are the cases we know about. Because out of that 1 in 4 girls that will be sexually abused and the 1 in 6 boys that may be sexually abused for their 18th birthday, these are just the cases that were actually reported. So imagine that, take that number. I had a lady that came up to me last night, and I was telling her only 10% are actually reported. And she had a good point. She said, just multiply that number, then take that 551 and multiply it by 10. And that's potentially how many cases really were in the state of North Carolina in Greensboro, the city of Greensboro. When you think about how to recover, the R in recovery, one resource that is available right here on Battleground Avenue, I looked it up, there's a Kathy E. Pickett. She focuses on trauma-informed care. So if you or someone you know that has been exposed to child sexual abuse, reach out to her. She's right here locally, no more than about 10 miles from this church right here if you need that extra assistance. A lot of times people assume that in the church just go to the pastor, but pastors are not qualified to help you with trauma. You still need to go to a licensed professional. Also, there's child advocacy centers all over, no matter what state you're in. The Child Advocacy Center here, there's one in High Point, North Carolina, and I'm sure there's one here in the city, but when I looked online, I know for sure it's active in High Point, which is less than 20 minutes from here, so take advantage of that resource. Also, as you're figuring out how to cope, take advantage of DMH, Department of Mental Health. That is something that is local. A lot of times you get those services free. If you or your family, Marion's House focuses on giving an ear to those that have been or may be impacted by the cycle of child sexual abuse. That includes the parents too. If you've been through this trauma, you've been traumatized by knowing that your child was sexually abused. So it's important for you to get the help you need as well. And then Marion's House is available for telesupport. So if you need to work with me, we are available through Hangout, which is through Gmail, and I can do video chats with you, or you can call the Marion's House number, which is listed on the Marion's House Business Facebook page. These are resources that are available to you. But if you are not ready to talk to someone, these are some coping skills that you can use. Like I mentioned last night, when they were singing Welcome in This Place. Singing was a coping skill for me. I continue to sing as a way to cope. My mom bought me my first karaoke machine, not knowing that I was using these things to cope with what I was dealing with, because I didn't tell her what the female had done to me until I was in my 20s. And I say that to say there's so much in the media right now. There's people that are saying, well, why are these people coming forward now? Why are they waiting 20 years and 15 years? It doesn't matter when the person comes forward. It doesn't change the fact of what happened to them.
That's right. That's right.
For you all to know that. So for me, my mom she didn't say, why are you just not telling me? She said, how can I help? And she drove from North Carolina to Hartsville, South Carolina, to my dorm immediately to support me when it occurred. So that's important. The other thing is, through that recovery piece, you want to make sure not to overreact if you have a young child. All they're going to remember is that negative wave response. I remember for me at 3 years old, when I told her, I remember my godfather and everybody saying, oh, we gonna kill him. But me thinking of somebody dying, I don't understand that. That doesn't seem like that's going to be a solution for me, because I didn't understand at 3 years old. So you want to always be conscious of the way that you respond. That's why through one of the workshops that I do is Through Darkness to Light, their curriculum, The Stewards of Children. The program focuses on how to react